All right, guys, we have a lot to get into. First of all, welcome. If you are new here, I welcome you. I thank you for stopping by. Again, for all of you who come back every week, I thank you so much for your support. I have been getting a lot of messages and some private emails asking me to do a reading on the new video footage of what appears to be a car going into Prosser Reservoir. And so that's what we're going to do today. Before I get started, though, private readings are always available. All you have to do is email me. I will have all the information that you need to know in the description box. And so let's get right into it. First and foremost, I do want to mention that I was able to watch one of Megan's interviews, and it was the one where she was on the show or the channel. The woman's name is Michelle. I'm not really sure what the channel's name is. I think she's fairly new. But the last time I recorded a video, which was on Megan and what her intentions are and what she is possibly trying to do, that very same night I got off, and lo and behold, I get a notification that Zav Girl is going live, and I started watching it, but I was just so tired I fell asleep, and her lives are quite long, and so I just, most of the time I can't watch all of them, but I will watch her smaller clips. However, the following day when I went to my mom's, I did try to watch the majority of that interview in the car, and wow is all I can say. I know that she has come out since then and tried to correct some things or, straighten some things out. I have not had an opportunity to watch that. There is another interview that I'm in the process of watching right now, and that is, oh God, what was it called? Captain Kurt. I've never heard of Captain Kurt before, and so someone had mentioned his interview. He had Megan up on panel as well as a couple of other people, but anyway, I'm probably 5 minutes into that video, so I haven't gotten much from that yet. But this first one is just a wow. And when I did my reading, I'm glad that I did the reading prior to watching her, because it allowed me to go in a little bit more objectively into the read than had I seen that video first. And when I watched Zav Girl, she had Teresa from Unmasked. I don't know if it's still Unmasked, but she had Teresa on her panel as well, and so they were both commenting to this video, and I really like Teresa. I think Teresa's funny and she's down to earth, and her comments really make sense. And even though I may not agree with her about this situation, because I still don't believe it's an accident, I really like Teresa, and she did make a comment that this Michelle lady did a good job on the interview, because apparently this Michelle woman was getting some flack about how the interview went. And quite frankly, I thought she really did a good job given the person that she was interviewing. And Teresa said it well. She was like, she allowed Megan to talk. And that's what we want, right? We want to hear her talk. And you can get a whole lot of information by just listening. And so I agree with Teresa. And on top of that, I don't think Megan could have gotten a word in edgewise, or not Megan, sorry, Michelle. I don't think Michelle could have gotten a word in edgewise anyways, because anytime this Michelle woman did try to ask a question or make a comment, Megan was like right in there, boom, taking it over, interrupting and interjecting and going off on a tangent for another 20 minutes on something else that was unrelated. And I felt kind of sorry for her. I do feel kind of sorry for her, because it is hard to come on and just talk to tons of people. And she does seem to recognize that she has a little bit of, she's kind of all over the place. And she is also realizing that you have to be, you have to pay attention to what you're saying, how you're saying it, because yeah, YouTube is going to pick apart every single word. Why you said that, why you didn't say that, what was going to come out of your mouth, what almost came out of your mouth. She makes a comment at one point that stuck out to me, that, she kind of comes across as wanting to be a private investigator. And I don't know how I feel about that. That bothers me a little bit, because why are you so invested in this particular case? You are a local, I get that. Your kids are associated with some of these teens, but the fact that she is literally going around and reenacting if a car is loud and you're parked next to it and your windows are down, would you be able to hear that? I mean, just really into this case, and that's a little bit odd to me. But at one point, she does say that when she started speaking to Sammy, that, you know, pretty much she was saying, don't worry, I've got Sammy covered. I've already asked Sammy all the questions that you could possibly think to ask her. I've already asked them. She's answered them. I trust her. I know she's not lying to me. And, you know, Sammy has been interrogated. She has taken a lie detector test for 8 hours and everything's fine. You know, Jagger's fine. And I've already told Kiely what not to, and then stops and then kind of tries to, you know, go around what just almost slipped out of her mouth. And so it's like you're led to believe, or you're thinking in your mind, oh, did you tell Sammy what not to say and what to say? If that's the case, it didn't help any, and you're not helping any either. But there were some things that were red flags. As far as the lie detector test and Sammy and Jagger taking 8-hour lie detector tests, I doubt it. I mean, I would probably say an hour max is, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lie detector person, so I have no idea how long it takes, but I doubt it was 8 hours. And on top of that, if that's the case, if let's say Jagger and Sammy did take lie detector tests, where are the results? Because I can guarantee you, if they passed a said lie detector test, they'd be telling the world all over social media, hey, I passed my lie detector test, so I'm clear. So there's a couple of odd things that came up in that conversation, but what we're here for today is the lights in the video footage of Kiely Rodni, potentially Kiely Rodni's car. Well, it's a car, and I believe that there was only one car in Prosser, so Kiely Rodni's car going into Prosser. Now, when I first watched it, like I said, no, this was a different day on Zavgirl. I did watch it for the first time on Zavgirl. It was on the replay. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I really couldn't. I couldn't tell what the hell was what. I'm listening to Zavgirl saying, oh my God, it's her. And I'm just thinking to myself, how can we tell? I couldn't even see where the water was at first. And since then, other YouTubers have come out and they've tried to put overlays on them, and they've, zoomed them in. I seen Michelle After Dark. She did put something a little bit clearer, and I watched that one. And then Michelle referred us over to Gray Hughes, and I did watch his, I think it might have been an 8-minute video where he shows the footage, and he also puts like a daytime overlay on top so we can kind of get our bearings and we can at least see where the water is and the edge of the shoreline. And we can see some other cars off to the left. So I watched that full 8 minutes twice today. And yeah, I can definitely see that there's the water there and that there is a car there that goes into the water, and that car sinks fairly quickly. But what I also notice is that there's other cars in the area, and there's even another car that kind of goes up to the water and then stays there for a couple of minutes and then leaves. And so my question now is, okay, who's seen her go in the water? Because somebody must have seen something. It looks like other cars were in the area. Did they see that? And is that what led all of these cars to leave in this mass exiting? Is that what the mass exiting was about? I mean, was there something that happened and that made Kiely go into the water and then everybody left? Because it does seem like when Gray Hughes clears up that image, there are other cars in that area. Somebody made a comment in one of the chats about there being a red car. Now, I can't make out any kind of coloring. Okay, I'm just trusting that these are cars based on headlights. That's how bad I am when I look at this video. I'm just like, okay, I can see the mountains off in the distance. I can see the water and the shoreline and lights. That's pretty much the extent of what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this. But there are other lights that come close to where the lights in the water were. Okay, so that tells me that there had to have been cars around there. So there's that. And another thing is I still believe, and I do want to mention this, and you guys can go back to the very first video I did on Kiely Rodni. The one thing about tarot is when I do a tarot reading, I feel like, we are, and it's not like I feel, this is how I believe tarot works. It picks up the current energy. Now, the first reading that I did on Kiely, it might have been maybe a week and a half into Kiely's disappearing. I picked up water. And that she was in water. And I specifically remember pulling the Hermit card. I believe this was the first reading, if not the first, but the second. But I'm thinking it was the first. I remember the Hermit card coming out, and I looked at it, and literally out of my mouth comes, I'm trying to focus on the road. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm trying to drive. I'm trying to see. I'm taking my time. I'm going slow, but I'm in the water. Look down. I'm in the water. Look down. I'm right there. Look down. I remember that like it was yesterday. And when I did that reading, I felt like at that point she was in water. Now later on, we have roadside assistance person saying that, it was possible that Kiely and her car were seen the following day. Other people were coming out and saying she was at the Boca area. There were sightings of Kiely, and so, that started to raise questions. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, but when I did that reading a week and a half in, I was already picking up the water of energy, and I thought, well, it could be Kiely coming through at that point saying that's where I'm at now, but maybe it didn't happen that night. But I always felt like fairly early on she was in the water, and it sounds like it very well could have been that night. And it makes me go back to when I said, I'm trying to focus, I'm trying to drive, I'm trying to pay attention, I'm going slow, but I can't focus. Here's my thing. I still very much believe that there is foul play in this case, and not everybody may agree, but you have to remember that when we are watching these headlights going into the water, we don't know who everyone is in that car. We don't know if it's just Kiely or Kiely and someone else. We don't know if Kiely is conscious in that car. We don't know if she's behind the steering wheel or if she's in the back. We don't know any of that. We don't know if the car went in on its own or if the car was pushed or what have you. We have no clue. We can't see all of those details. And then another thing I thought about is that conflict, because I also picked up, and I think that this wasn't the first read, this might have been the second or the third read, I picked up a conflict, that there was something with that play fighting that Sammy spoke of that bothered me, and that came out in the reading. It was the Five of Wands, and so I remember saying something about that, and lo and behold, it does come out later on that there was some sort of a conflict between Sammy and Kiely. I wasn't even 100% sure if it was Sammy, but it was with someone. There was some sort of play fighting or fighting of something that happened. And that did come out in a reading. And so we find out that it was most likely Sammy. Sammy never mentions that when she does her interviews. She never mentions that. So that's odd, right? You leave things out or you omit things when you're trying to cover something up or when you're trying to, lie about something, basically. And so there's a lot of things that Sammy has not talked about that makes you really look at her and wonder why. Okay, why would you leave that out? Did you really talk to her at 12:36? Probably not. All right, that probably isn't the case. Could it be a mistake on her end? Maybe. Is there just a bunch of babble coming out of her mouth that's untrue? Probably. So I still have issues with Sammy. But my thing is if something did happen with a fight or a play fight and Kiely got hurt, even if she was able to walk out of that party, let's say she has a concussion, and I put this in my community post today. Let's say she walked out of that party, walked away with a concussion. You add drinking to that, you add possible taking drugs to that, and then you've got this head injury. Would you you know, be able to drive home? Or could you easily drive off the road and into the water? And if that were the case, if she did have some sort of an injury like that, would a coroner be able to distinguish when that injury occurred? Would they just assume that that injury occurred because of going into the water and maybe she hit her head on something? Or would they be able to tell if that injury occurred an hour before? That I don't know. And that's a concern, because I do feel like there is something that led to her going into Prosser that night, okay? That is nefarious. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. Why is Sammy and others lying about things? And I'm not accusing Sammy, so let me put that out there. And then now we've got the Truckee Way. The Truckee Way is just weird. It is weird. Somebody in a comment section to some video that I was scrolling through today compared it to two people. One person compared it to a Stephen King novel, and another person compared it to the movie The Village. And I'm thinking to myself, those couldn't be more perfect comparisons to this town. It is weird, is all I can say. Weird. Yeah. The behavior of the people that are coming out of this town, you know, Kiely's mom and her, I don't know, it's very, very odd. It's like, why wouldn't you want to know what happened to your child? Maybe she does know, right? Maybe she does know, and, you know, that's what it is. I don't know. It's just so much. It is so much. This case has just gotten beyond crazy. So what we're going to focus on, and I know I've talked for 16 minutes, I apologize. I'll put a timestamp in here in case anybody just wants to come into the video. But I felt it was important to talk about these things and to get it out and just talk about it, and you guys comment and tell me what you guys think about it, because whether Kiely went into the water that night or not, okay, I don't think that she just went into the water because she was, you know, inebriated or drunk. I think that she went into the water because there was something else going on. And that's what we're going to try to get to today. And then also, SF Investigates is the one who found this camera footage, but it sounds like he wasn't, it sounds like when he first showed the footage, he just chose a day from some random day in October. And that's when everyone went wild and started looking for the date of the day that Kiely went missing, or the day of the party, and that is when they came across it. And so I'm curious about SF Investigates. How did he know about this footage? Did he know about this camera? Possibly how long did he know about this camera? And, you know, was there some sort of motive for him to put it out there? So let me just write down SF Investigates. It's weird. And then I'm hearing rumors today that the website for that camera is down, or that it was down and it came back up, but some of the features are missing. So that's odd. And somebody sent me an email and told me that Duty Ron called authorities and he asked them about the video, and I guess that they did say that they were aware of it, that the FBI had the video footage. You know, so I guess he made a comment that that could very well be why it was taken down, or being worked on, or something like that. And so that's a possibility. But again, if this is the case, if Kiely's car did go into Prosser that night, then all of the searchers, okay, the divers, the little submarine machine things that they had going down there, and, you know, helicopters in the air, all of those people, regardless of whether or not it was 15 feet deep, 20 feet deep, 30 feet, 5 feet, you know, they missed it, right? They completely missed it. So couple that with the fact that local law enforcement told AWP to not search Prosser, that it had been ruled out. That's concerning. That is concerning. If somebody like AWP is coming in to volunteer their time and their services and their expertise to look for a child that you apparently can't find, why would you limit their search? Wouldn't you want them to search anywhere that they can? wouldn't you just simply say, have at it? This is what we've done so far, but you're more than welcome to look there again. Why go out of your way to tell somebody you don't have to search this particular water because we've already done it? We've already ruled it out. So matter-of-factly. That's odd. That bothers me. All right, so let's get into this and see. I am going to be using the Arcanum deck. This is a fairly new deck, and this is the name of it. This is the box. I really like the images on there. And then I'm also going to be using the Tarot of Opposition, so this is the box for that, in case anybody is interested. Let's get into it. I know I've talked for an hour already. Half the video is done, right? Talked for most of it. All right, so let's see here. Video footage of Kiely Rodni. Video footage of Kiely Rodni. Was that Kiely? Was that Kylie's car going into the water? I mean, there's no other car, right? So I fully expect it to be Kylie's car. There's no other car that was found in Prosser. And I'm sure if there had been, AWP would have found it. Not local law enforcement, but AWP. And then I watched a video today. Somebody brought up, who was it? Oh, Squirrel Girl. That's a new one that I just recently started following. She posted about a 15-minute long video about some guy, Nate H., which I guess Nate H. is a teen, one of the teens. Isn't it weird how how we've even gotten to know the teens as the teens? Anyway, so the teens. Nate H. is apparently one of the teens. And his father has some high position in the local community. Like, he's all up on it, I guess. And there's some things going on about his father and the strings that he would be in the position to pull. So check out Squirrel Girl's video on that. That's interesting. I think that this Nate H. and his father could definitely use a whole reading by themselves to see what comes out. All right. Kiely driving. This video footage. Is that Kiely driving? Kiely driving. Ten of Pentacles upright. The Star reversed. The Chariot, wow, it's a car right there. The Three of Swords, the Lovers, reversed, the Hanged Man, and we've got the King of Cups. All right, so in my opinion, with that Chariot coming up, we've got a car, and we've got a car right next to the Star, so we've got a car right next to water. All right, so I do feel like that is Kiely, and that is Kylie's car going into the water. But we know that, right? That's not any secret. There's no other car in that water that we know of. You know, so that is definitely Kiely. And I would be led to believe that it was Kiely driving because we have this one man here, you know, controlling his chariot, and he is the owner of that chariot. Okay? But that doesn't mean that she wasn't drugged or she wasn't intentionally led to get that drunk or inebriated. Maybe someone wanted to embarrass her, or maybe someone was getting back at her and they slipped her something because they thought it was funny. That doesn't mean that that didn't occur, and it doesn't mean that there wasn't some sort of a conflict and an injury didn't occur, and that led to her not being able to drive. Interesting with this Ten of Pentacles, because I've already mentioned how there are other vehicles in that video. Okay, it looks like there's other headlights that are around that area. This, to me, those pentacles represent those other cars in the area, and look how they're facing towards the water. Never mind, that's not water. I thought it was water. This is a new deck, so I thought I was looking at water. It's just the driveway. I thought it was water, though. But they're facing towards the house, and so to me, that represents eyes. That's eyes. That's eyes in cars that watched this happen. We've got the water in the middle, we've got the car, we've got other people watching. Okay, so I definitely believe that this was witnessed by others, by other teens. Three of Swords, so we've got a betrayal. That's betrayal. You know, in a case like that, you know, there's some rumors going around about somebody possibly coming home with wet clothing. And I'll have to ask on that myself, because if that's the case, you know, was somebody else in that vehicle and they were able to get out and Kiely wasn't? Or hey, here's a crazy one. Here's a crazy theory. Did someone witness that car going in and that person attempted to go in and rescue Kiely and they just couldn't, and because they couldn't rescue her, they just were like, okay, let's just pretend this didn't happen? That could also be considered a betrayal, because at that point you should be on your phone and saying, hey, 911, this happened, this is what's going on, we need some help here. Either one of those could be considered that betrayal. Let me just ask quickly. Was anyone else in the water that night that Kiely went into the water? Was anyone else in the water that night? And if this goes to my right, it's a yes. If it goes to my no or my left, it's a no. Was anybody else in the water that night besides Kiely? Was anyone else in the water that night besides Kiely? That's a yes. So we've got a couple of possibilities. You know, of course, it's a pendulum, right? And haters are going to be like, okay, you can't go by that. And that's fair, okay? But to me, it keeps it on the table. That keeps it on the table that there's a possibility that someone else was in that water that night, along with Kiely. And there was a betrayal that happened. We've got the Lovers. Of course, the Lovers doesn't always represent a relationship. It can just represent a bond between two people. Now, I personally don't think that Sammy and Kylie's bond was quite as much as she tries to portray it out to be. I don't think that there was any phone call that said, I love you, be safe, or anything like that. I don't think that that occurred. I don't think that Sammy would talk to Kiely like that. I could be mistaken, but I don't pick that up from her. But then it could be just friendship, could be a friendship card. But then there's the possibility where this Nate H guy comes into play. So I don't know anything about Nate H. I literally heard of Nate H for the first time when I watched Squirrel Girl's video today. And I'm like, she actually comes out and she was like, I know all of you know about Nate H. And I'm like, Nate H? I'm like, who is this? Like, what's going on? I've missed so much. But it sounds like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like there could have been a little something between Kiely and this Nate H. And Nate H is the one that I just spoke of, who has the father who is in, higher places in Truckee. Let's just put it that way. So is there something going on with a relationship there with Kiely? Did something go wrong there? Because it is also coming out in reverse, and it's also right next to that betrayal card, and it's right next to the car card. So there's something here. And then we have the Hanged Man. So to me, I look at this as Kiely not being able to get out of that car. Okay, she's not able to get out of that car because she's not free to do so. She's not free to do so. She didn't crawl out the window because she wasn't able to. It's not because water was rushing in through the window. It's because she was not able to crawl out of that window. This man is being suspended by something attached to his leg. Okay, I'm literally taking it literally. We know that, Kiely was in the back hatch, and there's a lot of stuff going on back and forth. People are like, well, you wouldn't go in the back hatch if you're trying to get out. And some people are like, well, yeah, of course, that's the first place you would go. So it's like, we really don't know. I don't know. I can only imagine. I can't even imagine, really, if you're, conscious in that situation, how utterly frightening it is, and how you've got to think in a matter of seconds. And if the windows are down, that water has got to be rushing in there like crazy. And it's dark and it's cold and it's probably quiet. And, you know, all you're hearing is the water and the car. And you don't know what the hell is happening. And when that car starts to flip, you're probably extremely disoriented. I can't imagine how scary, how absolutely frightening that was if she was conscious. But this card tells me that she was not. And look, he's even upside down. He's upside down and his foot is caught on something. Literally, his foot is caught on something. And he's by the water. Okay. I rarely see a hangman above water. And in this particular deck, the hangman is above water. So it's literally, he is connected to something. She was stuck in that car. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. She was stuck in that car and she could not get out. She could not get out. Now we know that from AWP's footage that there was something that was sticking out of the back trunk, whether it was a piece of a belt or something else. Could that have been what was, you know, keeping her in that area? But I don't feel like with this card coming out, she was able to get out. And, you know, I just want to add too, he's barefoot here. I've heard some talk about whether or not Kiely was barefoot or not, you know, if her shoes that were found in there, if they were on her, I don't know, but I just want to mention that as well. So there's something to that. It's important and it's relevant. And then we have the King of Cups. So who is the King of Cups? Is this perhaps someone's father that, you know, has some strings that he can pull? Is this related to the relationship? Is this relationship involved in what happened to Kiely in any way, shape, or form? And this is dad making sure that everything is, you know, under wraps because, you know, they don't want their child or their teen to be involved in this. So that was quite a first pull. Okay. Let's see what else comes out. All right. Let me get more information on the other cards that were in that video. More information on the other cards that were in that video. Knight of Pentacles. Did anyone witness this car going in the water? Did anyone witness this car going in the water? King of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands. Yeah. Got a lot of tens. The Fool. Yeah, the Nine of Wands. I'm looking at all these high numbers as people, witnesses. The Emperor. The Emperor comes out a lot in Kiely's reading. The Emperor came out in the reading I did the other day on Megan. And somebody wrote in the comments that, you know, if there were, let's say, kind of like a cultish vibe going on there, that Emperor would make sense. So there is definitely someone, and I called it more of a clique than a cult, but you know, after reading about the Truckee Way, yeah, maybe there is some sort of like a modern day society or cult-like thing going on there in Truckee. And this here would be the person in charge of all of that. And he is coming up. So that tells me the reason why he's showing up, this Emperor is showing up in this reading, is because this person is involved in this one way or another, whether it's to cover it up, whether it's because they are related to a child that could have witnessed something or seen something, whatever. There is a reason why he is coming up in this reading. So it is relevant. This person is relevant to Kiely's case. I'm looking at, and then we got that King of Wands too, but I'm looking at these, all of these high numbers, like the Nine of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and then I had the Ten of Pentacles, and I see that as other people that seen it happen that night. Look at this guy right here. Okay, he's literally kind of looking at something, and he's grabbing his stuff, and he's trying to get the hell out of Dodge. I look at this as, oh my God, did you guys just see what happened? Oh my God, did she just drive into the water? Did that car just go into the water? Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here before the cops come. And they split. Okay, not everyone was thinking that, because I think that there's also another small group that was closer to Kiely that knows intimately what happened that night. But for the general consensus of the other people that were just people that came to the party just to party and do their thing, they picked their stuff up and they got the hell out of there. So I believe that yes, most of these kids, okay, and I don't know if it's 100, 200, 300, 400 people there. I have no idea. It didn't look like there were 300 cars to me in that video. It looked like a handful, looked like a small amount of cars that were there. But I believe that most of them seen what happened. And this is these kids, these teens, gathering up all of their personal possessions and any kind of evidence that would show that they were there, and anything that would, not look good, taking it and getting out of there. We've got the Fool. I really do. I feel like with the Fool card, and I hate to say it, and I'm not saying it to be anything negative with Kiely or towards Kiely, it makes me feel like there was a little bit of naivety there with her quote unquote friends. I think that she maybe thought that there were friends there that were true friends, and they really weren't. And there's more than one. Okay, it's not just the one that we're all thinking of. There's a couple others there that I feel weren't really looking out for her and her best interest that night at the party. But there's at least a couple that to me had some ill will feelings towards Kiely, and I don't know why. I don't know if it had something to do with that lover's card or what, but there's definitely something there. And I don't think Kiely really, even if she knew, would never expect anything like this to happen. This was kind of like, wow, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this person did this. So that's the way I look at that. And then we have the Nine of Wands. Again, her guard was down. Okay, that's Kiely. That both of these are Kiely. All right, just a little bit of, not really underestimating what these people that she was associated with were capable of, and having her guard down, and not really, expecting anything like that. I also feel like her guard was down at this party. She was just there to have fun. She was just, letting loose and doing what probably everybody else was doing at this party, and, not expecting any kind of malicious behavior towards her or anyone else. And so, she wasn't really paying attention. She wasn't looking at her drinks and making sure that she was pouring it, or making sure that, whatever the case may be. There's talk about, possible Sammy knocking into her and bumping a drink and making her spill it, and could she have given her something else and put something in that drink? That is kind of where my mind is going right now. Could she have had her guard down, and just maybe somebody else might be like, that's okay, I'll get my own drink. It's okay, fine, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. And kind of go get their own drink. But she just wasn't. That wasn't her way of thinking that night. It just wasn't her way of thinking. And why should it be, right? You're not thinking that your friend is gonna slip something in your drink. You're not thinking that way. Most people wouldn't. Most people aren't thinking that way. Okay, and then we have that King of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. All right, so look at the way the Knight of Pentacles is holding on to his pentacle. That's, to me, people holding on to the truth of this story. They're not letting this go. They're not going to give up any information that will allow the truth to come out. Okay, so I don't know who that knight is. I don't know if it's one person or if it represents a group of people, but whoever this knight is holding on to the key to solving this mystery. All right, what went down at that party? What was that conflict about? And what happened to Kiely after that? What made her go into the water? Was she driving that car? Was she conscious? All right, it doesn't seem like these people are willing to share that, and they're not. And I don't think that anybody's willing to share it anytime soon, because they're still holding on to that truth. They're still holding on to the story. And then we've got the King of Wands. So it's interesting that we have the King of Wands and we also have the Emperor. Okay, so we've got two male figures here that are coming out in this reading that are pretty prominent. It very well could be one and the same. It could be the same person. Or it could be two people. But to me, and I might be just this deck, they look very similar. They look very similar to one another. It looks like it could be the same guy, to be honest with you. And the way that the Emperor is holding on to his staff, and they look very similar. They look like the same person. So I feel like it's the same person, and he is also connected to these people holding on to the truth. All right, so it's almost like he's standing there guard. It's like he's standing guard over the truth, and is like, no, we're not going to say this, we're not going to say that. So the question now is, why? Why is this Emperor, this King of Wands, why does he want this to go away? Why does he want this to go away? Five of Swords. Ugh. Queen of Wands. All right, so, yeah, we've got a Five of Swords, and we've got a young guy here in this card. Okay, and the one guy that I'm thinking of in my mind potentially could have a son that was at this party. And if that's the case, then there is something to that, because I'm seeing pieces of the puzzle kind of connect. I'm seeing these dots connect and make sense to me. I'm looking at, I would be curious to know what Sammy's relationship is with this Nate guy, this Nate H guy, and if they're friends or friendly, or have they dated or anything like that, because there's something here. There's definitely a younger guy coming out in the read, and there's also an older guy. And the younger guy and the older guy are definitely connected. They are definitely connected. There's something here that binds these two. Look at them. They're very similar. It could be a younger version of this guy here. So could it be a son? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely could be a son. And something happened that night, and potentially this son here, for entertainment purposes, either seen something or knows something, and that could very well be the reason for the cover-up. And there's some concern. The Nine of Swords, that's a worry card. Like they're stressing about it. There's this sense of, I have power and I can pull strings and I can make things go away, but because it's such a public case and so many eyes are on it, and people on YouTube are literally finding pieces of evidence, okay, it's just, how much control does this one person really have? And I think it's getting to the point to where both of them are kind of like, okay, we thought we had a handle on this. We have everybody in our back pocket. Everybody's going along with the story. Things were going well, but this damn YouTube and this true crime community is just really a pain in our rear ends. And so there is some concern there. There's some, legitimate concern. What this son knows, I don't know. I mean, there's something, but I feel like, if anything, if at the very least it's being a witness to this car coming or going into the water and not reporting it. At the very least, it's a witness. I mean, this is literally a person walking away from something, turning your back on something. Think back to that Three of Swords, that betrayal card. If this was a friend of yours, I don't care if you were a boyfriend, a friend, a best friend, an acquaintance, I don't care if you were even a stranger, right? If you see someone in danger like that, at the very least, you take your phone out and you call 911 and say, hey, I need somebody out here like right now, okay, right now. Out of the 300 or 400 people there that were at that party that night, are you telling me not one person noticed anything and not one person had any kind of inclination to go into that water and try to help someone? There's no way. There's no way. So there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else to it. Someone's seen something. Someone's seen something and they walked away from it. Got the Queen of Wands here, the Seven of Pentacles. We've got money, okay, so money. But in the beginning, when I pulled that Ten of Pentacles, those pentacles were something else for me. Those pentacles meant witnesses. They were eyes. They were the cars. They were the cars that witnessed this thing happen, okay? Who is the woman in the basket? What is she doing? Is she going around? Is she collecting information? Is she collecting stories? Is she trying to find out, is she trying to find out what people know, what people seen, what people heard? This reminds me of Sammy. This makes me think about Sammy. Okay, going around and collecting stories in her teen meets, in her teen meetings, collecting evidence. That's who that is, in my opinion. Okay, why is she coming up in this reading? That doesn't even make sense unless there's something more to it. So we've got people walking away. We've got people seeing this happen and turning their backs on Kiely. And we've got this strange man coming up in the form of kings and the emperor. And we've got a couple of young guys that look just like him. And now we've got a strange young girl out there, as well, collecting something. And they're all coming out together in some form of connection. So just the fact that they're all coming out tells me that there's some connection. Who else would it be? Now, it could very well be someone besides Sammy, but if you look at the card and if you look at the female, even the hair is similar. The hair is similar. The color of the hair is somewhat similar. And there's this persona about her that is kind of like, I'm here to help, I'm here to do my chores, I'm here to pick up the fruits, I'm here to harvest, I'm doing what I got to do, I've got a smile on my face, I'm a good person, I'm doing my best. That's the vibe I get from this particular woman in this card, and that is exactly the vibe that Sammy put out from the get-go. So that is why I pegged this at Sammy. And those pentacles, again, just like they were in the beginning of this read, they are people. They are people. Those pentacles in this case are people. Where's that Ten of Pentacles? Right here. When I pulled this card here, I said these are the people that were watching this thing go down. This is Sammy talking to the people and asking them what they know and what they've seen. And whatever else she said to them in private, behind closed doors. We'll never know, because remember, she made the comment that she's going to take it, even if she has to go to jail, she's not going to share that information, which kind of defeats the purpose, because aren't you asking these teens to come forward to share the information with law enforcement in case a tip comes? So I don't really get that, but that's how Sammy is, I guess. So there's definitely, to me in this reading, the pentacles represent people. All right, so now let me switch over to, let me see, we'll recap at the end. All right, let me switch over to the Tarot of Oppositions, and I want to ask a little bit about SF Investigates and what is his role in this footage? What is his role in this footage? SF Investigates. What is his role in this footage? All right. What is their role? What is their role in this footage? Oh, wow. The devil. SF Investigates comes out as the devil for entertainment purposes. He has an unhealthy attachment to this case. That's what it is. He has an unhealthy attachment. There's something off. Something's off. Something's off. Why is he so attached in this unhealthy way to this case and to Kiely? Page of Swords, reversed. Three of Pentacles. He's not working alone. He's not working alone. The Three of Pentacles tells me that there's some sort of cooperation here. Something's going on. And the Three of Pentacles is coming out reversed. So he's not on, I would guess, looking at this layout here, he is not on, he's on a team, but it's not the up and up team. Okay, so there's something here going on that's not good. That Page of Swords, there's a younger person involved with SF Investigates. So I don't know who that young person is, but this to me definitely represents a younger person that is... this must be one of the not nice teens that Megan referred to in her interview, because that was one of the contradictions I picked up on. You know, in the beginning, everybody knows everybody, everyone loves each other, everybody's dated each other, all the kids grow up knowing one another and all of this stuff. And then at the very end, you know, she comes out and says, you know, you have to understand that I'm not these kids' parent, and I can't just go knocking on their doors. And, you know, maybe their parents don't like me, maybe they know me from high school, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And some of these kids just aren't nice. Some of these teens aren't nice. And she never really gets into what she means by not nice. Like, are you meaning like a little rude, or are you meaning like some of these kids are like crazy? Which one is it? You know, because she does say that. And with these pages coming out, especially this one here, it just made me think of that. Some of these teens aren't nice. This teen in particular is definitely not nice. Who is this? And what is the connection between this teen or this younger person and SF Investigates? And who is SF Investigates working with? Because he is working with someone. Four of Swords. It's literally like he put that video out intentionally for people to run with. He just put it out. He literally stuck the sword in the ground and he laid back, or he sat back and he watched it go crazy. That's what he did. Whatever the reasoning is, I'm not quite sure. But he literally, it was literally like putting, you know, feed out for the animals. He just has been enjoying sitting back and watching all of the huff and fuss about it. Okay, so that was done intentionally. That was planned. That was planned. And it wasn't a good plan, or it wasn't done in good intentions, because that devil came out. That was the first card that comes out for SF Investigates. And then let's pull one more. Yeah, Six of Pentacles. You know, there could be money involved. You know, maybe he's getting paid to spin a narrative, or, you know, like the Three of Pentacles, it's a collaboration. Okay, so there's something here with him that's not right. Definitely something here with him that's not right. All right. Want to ask, did law enforcement miss Kiely's car, or did they absolutely know that that car was in Prosser? Did they miss Kiely's car, or did they know that this car was in Prosser and they ignored it? Oh, wow. Ten of Swords. That's not good. Ten of Swords. Jesus. Huh, the Three of Swords. The Chariot. God. Okay, let me just take these three. That's not good. That is not good. We've got the Three of Swords reversed, the Ten of Swords, and the Chariot. They knew that car was in there, allegedly, for entertainment purposes. Look at that. Look at that Ten of Swords. Cold. The person's cold. This is a cold card. This is definitely one of the coldest Tens of Swords I've ever seen. Let me look at this one, the Three of Swords. We've got a woman here sitting in the corner, hiding. Makes me feel like they knew the car was there. Let me pull this one here. We've got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Another very cold looking car, or card, not car, but card. The Emperor. Guys, how many times can the Emperor come out in one read? All right, the Emperor. The Emperor rarely comes out when it needs to. And then we have the Sun card. The Sun card. It's an odd ending to this pull here. That's different. The Emperor. The Emperor is not reversed. It's not reversed, and so in this case, I look at the Emperor as being law enforcement. But could it be the same Emperor from before? Could it be this person is affiliated with law enforcement, or there's some connection between this person and law enforcement? But this is the car. This is Kiely's car. And this particular read was whether or not law enforcement knew she was in there. And it literally, to me, looks like they knew she was in that water. They knew she was in that water. This is them. Like, to me, this is them saying, I've found it. It's right here. The car's right here, guys. Car's right here. But then they don't pursue it. Why? Why not? Why not pursue it? Why not pull it out? What was the reasoning? There's got to be something else here. There's got to be something else going on. This is law enforcement right here saying, I found the car. I've got the car. It's right here. This is the car still here in the water. This is him saying, I've got it. I've got it. Why? Why would they cover that up? Why would they cover that up? Why would they cover that up? The World card reversed. The Hierophant, the community, Judgment. Wow, look at those three cards. I'm going to end it there, guys, because I could literally go on for another 2 hours pulling cards on this case. It's going to require another video or two. I don't know. It's just so much. There's just so much stuff coming out. Look at these last three cards. Why would they cover it up? Why would they cover it up? We've got the World card reversed, the Hierophant, and Judgment reversed. If that doesn't reek of foul play and involvement and cover up, I don't know what does. And what is at the core of it? The Hierophant. Or some could argue Truckee Way, right? Truckee Way here, that's what the Hierophant in this particular case stands for. The community, the community. The World card. Could someone's world be coming to an end if this were to come out? If the truth were to be known, would that affect Truckee as a whole? Would it affect the community somehow? I mean, what they don't understand is that just by the way everything is happening, you know, the reputation of Truckee doesn't seem very good right now anyways. You know, it's possible that since they're a, you know, a destination for travelers, you know, this really does kind of have a negative impact on that, and they might notice a decline in tourists anyways because of the way everything looks. So if that was their goal in the beginning, is to kind of just cover this up so that they can keep money coming into their town, it backfired on them, and it's actually doing the opposite, I would think. But that world card to me looks like, you know, plus we have the back. We have the back of this person. If this were to come out upright, we have the front, but we have the back. So there's hiding. There's hiding that's going on. There's secrets. There's hiding. We don't know the story. We're only being showed one part of it. We're not being shown the whole part. There's more to the story here, and it's not good. It's dark. It's not good. It has something to do with that community. So there's that. And then we have judgment. What are they afraid of? What kind of judgment are we talking about here? There's something eerie. There's something eerie going on here. This is a weird 3 cards to end on. All right, so there's so many more questions. There's so many more questions. I do believe that that is Kiely's car. I do believe it's her car, but I don't know if she was driving. I feel like she was. I feel like there's a possibility she was because of that chariot. That first chariot. How many chariots came out in this read? At least, well, 2 decks. So both chariots came out in both decks. That's very unusual. The chariot doesn't come out very often. And both emperors came out. A couple of young people came out. Pages came out. That 7 of Pentacles came out looking exactly like someone. And witnesses came out. Secrets came out. And community came out. So I'm going to leave it at that. And we're going to have to just come back and do another reading because, like I said, there's just so much. There's just so much going on here. But I don't think that this is over yet. I don't think this is over. There's something here that doesn't feel right. All right, guys. I will try to get as many videos up this week as I can. Some of you know that my sister is here from out of town, and I will be visiting with her tomorrow. So if anybody does reach out tomorrow, I probably won't respond tomorrow, but I will, or tomorrow night probably I will. But I'm going to still try to record in the meantime when I have a minute. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I am sending blessings out to you all, and thank you so much for being here. All right, talk to you later. Bye.